Welcome everybody to this World of Tanks Xbox 360 edition tutorial. My name is Maxwell, and today we're going to go through and have a look at the very basics of this game. If you've just picked it up and you haven't got a clue what you're doing, then this is definitely the tutorial for you. Or even if you've played the PC version of World of Tanks and you want to switch over to the Xbox version, I would still give this tutorial a look, just because a lot of things have changed and there are quite a few things different with the 360 version as opposed to the PC version. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a look at the oops, pad's a little bit sensitive there. We're going to take a look at the training mission just to ease you into it, and then we're going to have a look at the overview of the garage and how you unlock tanks and consumables and equipment and all of that lovely good stuff. But what I would say is, even if you've played the game before on the PC, I would still definitely go and do the team training, not the team training, the training mission, just because you get some rewards and it gives you a chance to get used to the controls in a situation where you are not at risk. What I'll do though is, if you're really not interested in, oh my god, there's a lot there. Right, let's have a look. Training level. So, if you're really not interested in watching the training and you just want to have an overview of how everything works in the garage and everything, or you need to learn something specific, then I'll put an annotation on the screen and you can go ahead and just skip this and get right to the section that you want.
Welcome to the field, Commander. We're going to put you and your crew through some training exercises. That Sherman tank you're driving is just a loner, so don't get too comfy.
So here we go, to the training mission.
Aim your camera at the vehicle to your right by moving the analog stick. Your tank's turret follows. Good. Now aim at the ambulance to your tank's left. Alright, move up to the marked location.
So nice and easy, and use the left stick to steer and drive.
Now move up to the next location. Remember, you're in a tank. You don't drive around obstacles, you drive through them.
Didn't really want to drive through the concrete structure just in case that didn't really work. But everything else, we'll just drive through it.
Looks like you and your crew can handle the basics. Let's see if you can handle some more advanced actions. Get your tank to the firing position marked on your mini-map in the bottom right of the screen. You will have to cross a swamp to get there. Difficult terrain like this will reduce your tank speed and maneuverability. Take that enemy out, Commander. For maximum accuracy, wait for your aiming circle to shrink.
We hit them hard!
That's one for the scrap heap. Head to the next firing position. It's marked on your mini-map in the bottom right of the screen.
So far, this is the exact same training mission that you get in the PC version. Obviously, though, getting used to the controls is nice.
Destroy that enemy. Fire when the aiming circle has snapped onto the target. Get to a better firing position. Frontal armor is harder to penetrate, so always try to flank your enemies. You reduced that heavily armored tank to a smoldering wreck.
Indeed I did.
Got one more enemy out there. Move to the marked position to detect him. You can only spot enemies in your view range. Hide your tank behind those bushes, Commander. If you stay in the brush and keep still, it'll be harder for enemies to detect.
Target spotted!
Switch to sniper mode and take aim at the enemy.
Oh, is this all I get to zoom in? Whoops. That's not very good. Can I zoom in a little bit further? Press... Ah, there we go. It's the, this thing.
We hit them hard!
Whoops, missed that one. God, I'm not really used to using a pad, if you hadn't noticed.
Nice shot! We hit
Damage these tracks.
That's gotta hurt.
Now I think the one thing is the penetration indicator is different
Great work, Commander.
than it is on the
You
PC.
concealed yourself and destroyed
On the
that
PC,
long-range target.
green means you're likely to penetrate, whereas this,
You're ready to roll
it would
out.
appear
See
that
you on the
red
battlefield.
means likely to penetrate. So that's the basic tutorial. I would recommend doing this before you actually have a game, just because, like I said, you do get rewards for doing it, and it just gives you a chance to mess around with the controls and get used to the tank and how it drives without any risk of sort of messing it up. But as you see, you get 6,000 silver there and 300 XP to play with, so that's a very nice little start. Right, so welcome back. If you press the skip annotation, this should be whereabouts you've ended up, or if you watch the tutorial, then again, this is where you will have ended up. So, as with the training, it's just as easy to get into a battle. You basically select the tank that you have, and then you hit A, and it dumps you straight into a battle. We're not going to take a look at a battle yet, because really that's something that you should get used to doing yourself. I am going to be doing tank reviews and how best to play tanks, but really just playing the game is the best practice that you can get. What I will help you with is upgrading tanks. So I'm going to go with the Leak Tractor here, or otherwise known as the LOL Tractor. And we're going to go through everything with this, because you notice that the XP we got in the top right hand corner, that's free experience, so we should be able to spend that on any vehicle. So if you go over and highlight the tank that you want, hit X, it'll bring up a little sub menu. Now, one of the major differences you'll notice immediately between this game and the PC version is everything is given in relative quantities. So as you see on the right hand side there, it doesn't tell you exactly how many hit points you've got, but it gives you an estimate. Well, not an estimate, it gives you sort of how good it is relatively. So you see its health's really small, its attack's a little bit bigger, armor's a little bit bigger, speed's up a bit higher, view range a little bit not too bad, and then underneath that is the crew. The greyed out extra bit is the potential that the tank has. So as you see, my attack can be upgraded quite significantly on this tank. And then the rest of the bar that's totally blacked out is its comparison to every other tank in the game. So as you can see, this tank can get a little bit better, but it can get nowhere near as good as higher tiered tanks, as this is just a tier 1 tank. So the way you unlock the extra grayed out areas is with this section here, packages. When you click on packages like that, it brings you to this section here, and this is where you can unlock all the extra bits for your tank. As you see at the bottom, it tells you what you will be upgrading. So if I buy this upgrade here, I'll be upgrading the turret and I'll be upgrading the engine. Oops. If I select this upgrade here, I will apparently be upgrading nothing. Not really sure. If you hit Y, it'll tell you the details, but I'm not really sure. Is it... Ah, yes. So it's basically just what changes there. We've got the gun is the 2cm engine, so it's the gun. So that is a side grade, really, not an upgrade. So if you press Y to toggle details and you have a look at the details, our 3.7cm cannon there has 40 penetration, 36 damage, and 26 rounds per minute. And if we have a look at the 2cm, it fires a lot more rounds, has less penetration and less damage, but it's 87 rounds per minute. So it's a little bit of a side grade, whereas this is just a total upgrade. If we bought that, our tank would have a better turret, which generally gives it more armor. Well, as you can see there, on the far right hand side, that upgrades our health a tiny bit, and it upgrades our attack to full, and it upgrades our view range a little bit because of the turret. The turrets always add a little bit of hit points, and they add to view range. So what I'm going to do is just hit A to research that. It gives you the warning, this will spend 135 from your free XP. I don't want to do that just yet, actually. I'd rather do it after a battle, because you will earn significant amounts of XP from doing battles. And then as you can see, from there, after I've unlocked that, then I can either research the Panzerjäger 1, the Panzer 35, or the Panzer 2, and they are tier 2 tanks. If I wanted to get the G Panzer Mark IV, I would have to unlock this set of upgrades. So one quick little thing I wanted to add, I'm recording this after the fact, but I'm going to edit it in so it doesn't look like this, so that just makes everything that I've said pointless. But once you've researched all of the packages for a tank, as you see here, I'm about to unlock the last one there. The tank gets what's called elite status, and as you can see that by the little laurel bows around the light tank symbol. What it means when a tank is elite is, the experience that it generates, as you can see on the right hand side, it still has 2,367 tank XP on it. And nothing else is spent on because I've unlocked all of the packages. What you can do with that is you can then use gold, which you purchase in the store, and you can spend some of your gold to exchange that 2,367 experience into free experience to free it up and allow you to use it. So not always are you going to want to get a tank to elite, because like I said, this package here is a bit pointless in my opinion, unless you want to go for the machine gun style. But unlocking it does allow the tank to get elite status, so you can then exchange some of that XP into free experience to spend on any tank that you like. So that is it for research. Quickly though, what I'll just say is if you hit the right bumper at the top, you can go along to the tanks tab across the top, and this will give you the full tech tree. So as you see, we were on the leak tractor there, and that would allow us to unlock any of those three things if we bought the first package, and that if we bought the second package. And then basically from here you can have a look at the whole tech tree. It's normally best to make a decision where you want to go in the end, and then you can work towards it. So my aim is to get to the E100 heavy tank. So basically I would move down this tank line here, go with the Panzer 35, 38, the 38 NA, Panzer 4, and then the VK all the way along here. So it's always best to have a plan before you go into starting to unlock things, just so you don't spend any XP where you don't really want to spend XP. So that is how you unlock upgrades for your tank and how you unlock new tanks. Next, we are going to go along to consumables. Now, if you've got the cash, always, always, always buy consumables. I cannot stress that enough. Obviously, when you're starting out, in Tier 1 tanks, and possibly Tier 2, I would say no, don't bother, because they're expensive. But to load in consumables, you just hit the X button again on the tank that you want, scroll down to consumables, hit A. This is where you can exchange your ammunition. This is your regular armor-piercing ammunition. This is your premium or gold rounds. You can only buy this ammunition for in-game gold, which is real money, but it has much higher penetration, but the same damage as AP. And then you have these high explosive rounds. High explosive rounds have really, really bad penetration, but they do a lot more damage if you penetrate. And they tend, unless the target is very, very heavily armoured, what will happen is these high explosive shells will hit the target. If they don't penetrate, they'll explode on the outside of the hull, and they will do guaranteed damage. It's not very much, it's very, very small amount of damage, but they will do some damage. What I would suggest is always running with some high explosive rounds, just so you can get guaranteed damage on somebody, or if you've got a very lightly armoured target. As you can see, the penetration rating there is only 14 to 23 as opposed to 30 to 50 from the main rounds. After that, you've got your supplies. If you hit X on that, you can buy all sorts of lovely things for your tank. I would ignore, to start with, all of these, especially in low tiers. Don't even bother. What we have for cash is some extra gasoline, small repair kit, small first aid kit, and manual fire extinguisher. I would ignore that almost entirely, unless you're running a scout tank in a much higher tier. Always, always, on tier 3 and above, have a repair kit, a first aid kit, and a manual fire extinguisher. What will happen with the small repair kit, you can hit a button and it'll repair one module on your tank. So if your tracks get taken off and you're out in the middle of the open, you can hit a button and that instantly repairs your tracks, and you can head off into safety. Same again, if your gun gets knocked out, you can use the repair kit and it'll fix it immediately. For the first aid kit, does the same thing but with crews. So if your driver dies, you can hit a button and that will instantly bring him back to life. It's like a defibrillator, but you can use it much more delayed. So if your gunner gets knocked out and your accuracy's suffering terribly, you can just hit the small first aid kit, bring him back, and he is fine. Manual fire extinguisher, same thing. You get set on fire, you press a button, and it puts the fire out almost immediately. This is definitely one of the best items to have, just because if you get set on fire, your tank will continually lose hit points while that fire is burning. Your modules will be destroyed, your crew will die, and it will generally just leave your tank in a horrible, horrible mess. So for the cost of 3,000 credits, you basically just hit a button, puts out the fire, and you don't lose the game. So that's it for consumables. Once you get the ones that you want to do, you hit B, which is save and exit. I've changed my my rounds there, so it's just asking me to confirm. Next, we have equipment. If you scroll down to equipment there, hit A. That brings up 3 extra slots. Now, what are these, I hear you ask? Well, if you hit A on them, it shows you exactly what they are. You've got extra little bits of equipment that you can fit onto your tank. Now, they are very, very expensive, but you can generally use gold to dismount them. If they've got the little picture of the nut in the top right-hand corner, a golden nut, then you can generally only dismount them for gold ammunition. For gold. The ones without the nut, you can take off and put on any tank. So if you want to buy a camouflage net, yes, it's 50,000 credits, but you put it on one tank. When that tank's done, you take it off that tank, put it on a different tank for free. So once you own it forever. And some of these bonuses that these things give is quite significant. Plus 5% to all crew skills is very, very good. So is, say, plus 10% of view range, or plus 10% of aiming speed. They are all very, very good. So again, you just hit A on them to select them, and you can have up to 3 on any tank. Next is the customization. This is where your artistic side is to flair. You've got camouflage, inscriptions, and emblems. So again, you just hit A on there, and you select which one you want. You can have a look at the details, but that's about it. Inscriptions, same kind of thing. You've just got little inscriptions you can put on your tank, and it's the same for emblems. So we're not going to do any of that. And then your last option is sell. And you might ask yourself, why do you want to sell a tank? Well, you only have limited garage space. So as you can see here, I've got 3 vacant slots. So if I buy another 3 tanks, I'm going to have to start selling tanks in order to fit new tanks in. So that's definitely something to remember. But generally, once you've left a tier, you probably don't want to play that tank much more, unless you really, really want to just play it for fun, basically. Like, say this leak tractor here. Once I finish playing it, I'll probably just sell it, because I'm never really going to play it again. So that looks like about it. Just a couple more things I do want to mention. If you notice on the right hand side at the very bottom, we've got crew. Now what you can do on the PC version is you can transfer one type of crew from one tank to another. Like, because these are both light tanks, I could say take this tank's crew and put it in this tank if they were more qualified, or you could retrain them. It looks like that's not a thing in this game. Crew looks like they are stuck in a tank. If that's not the case, and I find later that I'm able to transfer crew, then I'll correct myself with that, obviously. And I think that is about it. The only one thing for the guys who are coming from the PC version, you will notice that there is significantly less tanks than there are on the PC version, and some of the tanks are conspicuous by their absence, which, I mean, as you can see here, normally we would have another tier 10 tank destroyer called the Waffenträger E100, and we would also have another heavy tank called the Mouse. The only reason I can see for that is just for balance issues on the Xbox version. Like, the Mouse is a very, very well armoured heavy tank, and you have to shoot at very specific weak spots to be able to do damage to it. So with a pad rather than a keyboard and mouse, I can see why they've taken that one out. The other big omission is there are no Russians. So there are no Soviet tanks whatsoever in this game, which means, unfortunately, no KV-1S, no KV-2, and you guys who know what they are, you'll understand probably why they're not in this game. Other thing is, no turreted tank destroyers for the Americans after Tier 6. So as you see, these guys all fixed body tank destroyers. So there's no Hellcat. We'll get the Jackson instead. And you see there's no T-30. So quite a few tanks are missing. The one major thing which I was a little bit surprised about is there are no medium tanks for the British past the Matilda. So you go to Matilda, then the Churchills, Black Prince, Caernarvon, Conqueror, and the FV. And then the other tree is the tank destroyers. So A little bit funny that they don't have any medium tanks, but obviously this game's getting updated all the time. So obviously going to be bringing out new content to ups and new updates, and they do generally bring out quite a lot of new tanks, so I would definitely just keep an eye out for that. So I think that pretty much concludes it for this basic tutorial. What I'm going to do is I'm going to be bringing out reviews for certain tanks, and I'm going to just be bringing you gameplay footage as well, and my journey up the tiers. Like I said, I'm heading out for that E100 on the Germans there, and I'm probably going to bring out some more, what's the word I'm looking for, advanced tutorials. So slightly more advanced tutorials about how you want to play the game and what kind of equipment you want on tanks and so on and so forth. So I hope you found this tutorial interesting and informative. If you've got any questions, just leave a comment in the comment section below and I'll get back to you as quickly as possible. If it's quite a big question or something that I've missed that I really shouldn't have, then obviously I'll just bring another video out and send you on to that. So, thanks very much for watching, guys. If you enjoyed this video and you found it useful, please hit that like or favourite button. And like I said, if you've got any questions, stick a comment in the comment section below and I'll answer as many of those as possible that I know the answers to. And if you're not already, please consider hitting that subscribe button for lots more content like this in the future. I have been Maxwell, this has been World of Tanks Xbox 360 Edition, and I will catch you guys next time.